product market fit. We weren't at product market fit yet. And what product market fit is basically when your product is so good that everyone knows who you are. It's hard to ignore you. It's hard to ignore your business. You're growing at a rapid rate. You're growing faster than 7% month over month. Your revenue is growing, and it feels like everything is burning down just because so many users want your product. And we weren't at that point yet. Yes, we had a lot of users. Yes, we had 500,000 active users at that point. But when you're building an app for social media or in the consumer social space, 500,000 users is fine and dandy, but it isn't product market fit. Product market fit is millions. We're talking at least 20 million monthly active users. And we weren't at that point yet. And we were still trying to figure out what is that product feature, what is that idea, what is that concept that we need to build in order to get to that point. And getting to that point was tough. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be able to do it. If it was easy, we would see a new Facebook every year. But it's not easy. That is the most realistic realization from that time period. That few people have done this because it's really challenging and it isn't intuitive. It isn't something you can sit in a room and just come up with yourself. So we decided, okay, how are we going to get to our goal of product market fit, right? And one thing I appreciate about going through YC is that's all they focus on. There isn't a distraction about raising money. There isn't the distraction about investor relationships. There isn't that distraction about being on the magazine covers and being popular on social media. It's all about how do we get to the point where our company is at product market fit? Because once you get to product market fit, then follows the popularity, then follows the investors, then follows the magazine profiles and the Forbes, profile and all that good stuff. It's all about how do you focus on that one key metric, that one goal that will set your company up for success and brings upon all the other accoutrements that follow all these all any successful person. So we focused for that first 3 months in YC, we focused entirely on how do we get from where we are now to product market fit. So we built, that was a period of time where it was the most stressful for the whole company. We were hiring people at the same time as we were building rapidly. We were rapidly iterating our product. We were trying to figure out how to build a company as well as how to build a product as well. And it was tough. It was challenging. It's not easy. It was lots of long days. First of all, there is no weekends. You're working Monday through Sunday. The only day you get off is Sunday. You go to church, and then you come back and then do it all over again. You are not sleeping as much as you want to, which isn't healthy. But for a while, it isn't the worst thing in the world. You're just focused entirely on how do you do this one thing that will set up the company for success. Because once you reach product market fit, everything follows. Investors follow because investors want to invest in something growing. No investor wants to invest in a company that's actually going to lose money or lose users or whatever the key metric is. Investors want to invest in a rocket ship. They don't want to invest in a water balloon or a balloon. So, we spent the first 3 months of 2022 intensely focused on product market fit. And at the end of this YC period, we realized that we need to pivot. We needed to pivot. What we were working on wasn't going to get us to product market fit, and that was a very, very deep realization that what we've been working on for the last year wasn't going to work. Yes, we had users. Yes, we were semi-successful to some degree, but it wasn't going to take us to that 20 million, 30 million, user level. And we decided to pivot. And a pivot in entrepreneurship is when you decide to change direction. You decide to keep the vision the same, but change your entire approach. It's similar to changing the direction of a ship. You may be going to London from New York, but you decide, okay, we're not going to go through this direction. We're going to go through this direction, right? We're not going to go straight to London. We might stop at Portugal and then go to London. So you're still going to the same destination, but you change your approach. So we decided our destination was product market fit, right? Having an app or a software product that had millions of users without a scale that was worthy of product market fit. But the app, the idea we're working on with memes and photos and social media wasn't going to be the right approach. So we decided to pivot. We decided to pivot into something else. And our co-founder Phi decided that, okay, what are people interested in, right? What are young people how are young people using social media? How are they interacting with social media? What really captivates people? And we discovered that it was music. Music is something that everyone does, everyone enjoys all throughout history. I mean, music is seen from the earliest humans all the way till today. We have Spotify, we have Apple Music. Okay, so how do we leverage people's interest in music and create a new product that captivates their attention, that adds value to them through music? And eventually we landed on our new app idea, which was Kiwi. And basically, Kiwi was an app where it was a social media app where you can share music with your friends, but instead of just texting them or texting them in a group chat like, hey, listen to this new song, or video calling them, you would actually share the music to their home screen. So Apple released an update that allowed your phone to have widgets on the home screen. I don't know how many people know what a widget is, but a widget is basically on your Apple home screen on your iPhone. You can see features of an app on your home screen. And this was a new app. This is a new feature, and it was a new update on the iOS apps at the time. And we decided, okay, how do we leverage this new update to get viral? And we decided it was going to be music and social networking. So how do we combine music, social networking, and this new feature to get our apps more exposure, um, all in one? And we decided to build an app called Kiwi, and it combined all of these aspects of social media, music, and sharing amongst your friends. And it went viral with the younger generation. So in March of 2022, we decided to pivot into Kiwi. We built the app. Took us about a month to launch the app, and then in uh, May 2022, we decided to launch the app, and instantly it went viral. This was our most viral app that we built. It went viral super quickly. At this point in time, I grew in my ability to program, and I grew in my ability to scale a tech product. So we were able to handle the technological challenges a lot better. And at this point in time, we were also building our team. We had a small team of engineers from all over the world, from New York to Poland, to India. So we're building our team slowly but surely. I was the leader of the technological team. My sister Blossom was the leader of the marketing aspect of our company, and Phi was our CEO. So at this point in time, our app is taking off, going viral on TikTok. We're leveraging our knowledge of social media and trends and virality to grow our app and market our app. And that's all credit to my sister Blossom. She was able to leverage what's trending, what's happening now, what are people talking about, what are people interested in, and how do we get our product in the public discourse. And so she was able to leverage that to get our app viral, and I was able to, with the help of my team, my tech team, which are some of the best people I've ever worked with. They are amazing and they are very skilled at their job. We were able to build out this product, which was not it's not the most it's not the easiest product to build. It's complicated. It requires a lot of technical know-how, but we were able to launch this product. And over the summer of 2022, our product went viral all over the world. We more users from Spain than Canada. We had users in Spain, Canada, the UK, India, Nigeria, Australia, the United States, Brazil. We had users from all over the world. Our app was actually rivaling Spotify on the Apple charts. I think Spotify was number one, and we were either number two or number three, and we were rivaling a lot of these top apps and products on in the music category for a long time that summer. Um, our app was growing. At this point, we had millions of users, millions of active users. Um, we were growing at a rapid rate. Our technology had to consistently change and adapt to this new user base. And the demands of our users were ever increasing. We would have requests for this feature, that feature, this feature, that feature. We'd have requests for features that we didn't even know could be made, were possible. And one thing we learned during that period is you can't satisfy everyone. You have to focus on your vision, but at the same time, you have to take into consideration the requests of your customers. It's a balancing game. You can't just do everything your customers want because your customers don't know what they want. Um, they don't tell you what they want; they show you what they want, and you have to play the balancing game of how do I satisfy my customers, but at the same time, how do I build what they actually want and not what they tell me to want, not what they tell me that they want. So it's a balancing game. It's something that we were taught by our counselors at YC. And it helped us because we were able to consistently change the product and improve the product in a way that got higher engagement with our users and also got us more growth. As the product improved, the company grew. We grew our team to 5 engineers from the 2 we had. We definitely had our struggles. During that summer, I had to lay off our first engineer, which was a very big learning moment for me. It was the first person I've ever hired in my life. It was the first, engineering employee that we've ever had in our company, and things didn't work out. It taught me a lot of lessons, but we had to do what had to be done, which was lay that engineer off. And it taught me that you kind of have to hiring is hiring is more than just what you see on the resume. It's something that you can't do well your first time. You're going to make mistakes, but it's something that requires experience, and it requires a kind of know-how as far as like you have to know who is the type of person you want to hire. You can't just, and that doesn't come, until you've hired, people over and over and over again. So it's definitely something that comes with experience. And it was a big learning moment for us having to lay someone off. It wasn't easy. It was a big, big moment for our company. We thought that this person would be around for a long time in our company and would be a foundational engineer. Things didn't work out, and we learned a lot of lessons. So that was one big lesson that we learned was how to hire properly, how to keep the team strong and add people that will be an asset to the company and not a liability. And that's something that you don't know your first time hiring or building a team. That's something that no one's born with knowing how to hire. And that's also something that, yes, there's advice, but some things in life you kind of have to learn by doing. And I think hiring is definitely one of them. Learn it by doing and getting involved and actually hiring people. So back to the story, in September of 2022, we're growing. We travel to LA and San Francisco to set up meetings with record labels. We have a lot of interest from advertisers. Our investors are happy. We're growing. We're making progress. And yeah, the company's growing. Our users are, growing. We're getting a lot of popularity. We're getting articles written about us in different magazines from the La Parisienne in France to eventually Forbes, but getting a lot of growth, getting a lot of interest from business moguls in the music space, from different record labels, different entertainment conglomerates. And we're, still working, still hiring, still going, still progressing. Fast forward to 2023, and we once again realize that we will not be hitting product market fit. And it took us a while to come to that realization. But the more success you have, the harder it is to realize that you're not going to reach your ultimate goal. And what kind of made us come to this realization was number one, yes, we were growing, but after a while, our growth started to slow down. And when you're trying to build the next social media product, successful social media product, you can't have a slowdown in growth. You need to have an exponential growth curve, and it needs to stay like that for years. And at some point in December 2022, our growth started to plateau, and that's not a good sign. And we tried to ignore it. We were so excited that we finally found the product that will, lead to success, the product that will get us over the eclipse. But unfortunately, it wasn't what we were currently working on, which was Kiwi. And it took us months to grapple and come to that realization. To be honest, we were in denial about that, but eventually we couldn't deny it anymore. And we had to come back to the drawing board and figure out, okay, what are we going to work on now? What did we learn from our first app? What did we learn from this app, Kiwi, that we worked on up until this point? And how are we going to take those learnings to build something even better? How are we going to build on top of what we already did? Right? From our first app to our second app was a entirely different growth trajectory. Yes, Kiwi was successful, but it didn't really lead to our goal, which is building a successful, sustainable, long-standing social media product. So how are we going to take those learnings and build on top of it and learn? And that taught me something about entrepreneurship. Um, your first product might not work, your second product may not work, even your third, fourth, fifth product or iteration may not work. But it's about how you build on top of that. It's about how you take those learnings, how you take those even earnings and build on top of it. How do you take the lessons learned from your failures and build a better product or a better iteration or a better how do you become a better person and also how do you implement that into a better product? And so we decided to come back to the drawing board and take what we learned from Kiwi, our most recent product, and build a new product. And we decided to go into AI. And AI was at that time, ChatGPT was the new, consumer app on the block. It was taking over schools, the workplace, everyone's personal lives. This was around that time period. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with when ChatGPT was like, launched. It was launched in September 2022, but by May 2023, it was everywhere. Everybody wanted to build the newest ChatGPT clone or the newest AI, product. And this was the summer of AI. Everyone was building. We couldn't, push it to the side. AI was here to stay, and it is here to stay. So we decided to build in the AI space, and yeah, we decided to build a new product that combined social media and AI, and we called it Status AI, which was basically an AI chatbot, but it was social. It was like ChatGPT, but like a social friend version of ChatGPT, and that's kind of what we worked on from the summer of June 2023 all the way into early 2024. And that was our next iteration on building this product that we wanted to get to the millions of users for the sustainable future. And that's kind of what we've been working on the last year or so, year and a half, building AI and building combining AI and social media in one. And it hasn't been easy. There's obviously been challenges. AI is a lot more expensive to build, for one. You have costs, hardware costs. You have to build the models and you have to finance the hardware that runs those models, which is a lot more expensive than servers. And yeah, we've been working on it for the last year, a little over a year now, and we still haven't reached our goal as a company of getting to that product market fit point where we're so good we can't be ignored. Our business is bombarded with the customers. We can't handle the demand, but we're not at that point yet. But we're still on that journey, and the story continues. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where we are right now, and yeah, that's our story. That's my story. So I guess we can open it up for questions. Any questions you guys have, I'd be more than willing to take. Yeah, we can open it up for questions. But I just want to thank you guys for having me.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Great Okongo. Thank you so much. Very inspiring and encouraging stories. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, over to you, esteemed Pastor Deji.
Kwame, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your session. I will just take a quick dive now to the question and answer session. If you have any questions, please, by all means, just post them here on the chat column here, or send them to me directly if you have my number. And we can just take it on from there. Once again, thank you so much, esteemed speaker, for your time. We'll just await some questions, and then see how it goes. Okay, the first question just popped up. So let's look at that one. It says that going by what you said about the engineer, what would you do differently in hiring someone? How did you move forward after the incident?
Yeah. So what would we do differently? First of all, um, the interview process, I think, the way it's done, it hides a lot of shortcoming. It has a lot of shortcomings, and it hides a lot of important aspects of working that you can't really tell until you actually work with the person. So especially for a small business where you have less than 5 people and relationships matter a lot more than, let's say, a multi-level international conglomerate where you have thousands of people. I think the hiring process should be different for a small business and a large business. So our mistake was we took the practices and methods of hiring that big businesses use and applied it to our small growing startup. And that was a mistake that should not be repeated and we will not repeat. And basically, how do I go about it differently? Step number one, we would work with the person at a smaller scale level before actually hiring them full time, especially for a founding engineer. You need to get a certain level of relationship. Like you need to get a certain feel for the person before you actually bring them on full time. Because honestly, your first engineer, your first few employees, your first team members are essentially your co-founders. So yeah, they may not have as much equity as a co-founder, but they are playing such an integral role in your company that you can't afford to have someone that you wouldn't have as a co-founder. So we would um, take our time a lot more. We would use a lot more beyond the interview, we do a lot more meetings where we're just getting to know the person as an individual. And ultimately, we would have a trial period where we would work with the person at a smaller capacity before bringing them out full time. I think your first few team members are, after your co founders, are just as important as your co founders. And it needs to be done with a certain level of due diligence that is beyond big corporate hiring tactics. Um, the second question, how did you move forward after the incident? So we moved forward by coming to a lot of these realizations, and we decided we had to keep going. We couldn't let this bad hire stop us from hiring. We needed engineers and we needed people. But we decided, we learned from our mistakes, and we decided, okay, before we bring someone on full time, we're going to work with them on a smaller capacity. And practically, what that looked like for me was as the lead engineer and as the tech officer, I worked with our next engineers before I brought them on as full-time employees. I worked with them on projects at a smaller scale. And what that looks like is over Zoom, we would actually program together and build software projects together. So I can get a feel for how they work, how they build software. Do I want to spend hours, past the normal working hours, working with these people. Are they responsive? Are they competent beyond what their says? Are they hardworking? Are they willing to put in the sacrifice required? And ultimately, do I enjoy spending long hours with them? We did that before we brought them on full time, and that's how we moved forward from that incident.
Thank you so much for that insightful response to the question. Um, we can't see any other questions so far yet, so we'll just wait to see if anyone wants to pop up a question. Let's just be patient about that.
Yeah, feel free to ask anything, any question. I'm open to answer.
All right. So here's another question.
Pastor Davis, there's a question on your WhatsApp.
Yeah, I'm reading that right now. It says, does the environment one lives influence how successful one could be? I.e., if you were to remain in Makodi, what is the chances of your success story? So I'll take that again. It says, does the environment one lives influence how successful one could be? If you were to remain in Makodi, what is the chances of your success story?
Okay, first we have to define what do we mean by success. I don't think success is one thing. Yeah, so that's what we'd have to define. I don't think everyone's story is going to be the same, and in some way, growing up in different environments leads to different outcomes. We can't deny that. Certain people are in positions to do different things in different industries, right? If you grew up in Paris, the odds are you're probably going to do fashion or something else. Like different places and environments have different, industries and different, markers of success. In New York, everything's about finance and business and banking. So if you grew up in New York, you have access to these industries and these companies where you have a better chance of succeeding in that area. If you go to, let's say, London, it's the same thing with finance. So different areas have different industries and areas and avenues to be successful in. And I'm sure McCurdy or anywhere in Nigeria has its own different industries and different environments where people can be successful. And we do see successful people in anywhere in the world, whether it's Nigeria or India. There are people there who are taking advantage of the available industries and in businesses and places where they can actually impact their society. So it may not be San Francisco. I didn't grow up in San Francisco. I didn't have access to tech entrepreneurs. I didn't have access to Silicon Valley. I was from New York. By all intents and purposes, I should have been in banking or something like that because that's where New York is. It's Wall Street, it's banking, but you have to basically use what you have available to you, whether it's McCurdy or it's New York or it's South Carolina. You have to work at what's available to you. The Bible says that the the diligent man works on his own field. Like he takes advantage of, he's not, going after vain pursuits. He's working at what is available to him. He's doing the work that's in front of him. I think we all have what we can be successful at, regardless of where we're located, whether it's Nigeria or whether it's London. There's always something to be done. There's always problems to be solved, regardless of where you are. So location is not relevant as far as success, and we can't define success as just tech or just banking or just one thing. Yes, different areas have their different environments, they have their different industries, they have their different areas where they're known for or areas where they value, but every place in this world has problems, every place in this world has opportunity.
Thank you so much for that response there.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. Just checking through to see if there's any other question. I haven't quite seen any other question. Okay, I can see one. Just a second. It says, what or who do you attribute the success of your company to? I'll take that again. What or who do you attribute the success of your company to?
First and foremost, I would attribute it to God. I think um, he's always working behind the scenes and doing things that are beyond what you can do. An example was how he connected Blossom and I, my sister, to our third co-founder. That was definitely supernatural. It's not something that we even imagined, but it was something that we needed and that took us to the next level. So you can see the hand of God in every step of the way in our company, and we don't take it for granted. I also want to thank like my support system, my family, my parents, my father, who supported us and guided us throughout the process. Because that's also another thing. Like no one knows what they're doing, especially when they're starting. Yes, they think that you may think you know what you're doing. You may think you have all the right advice. You may have read all the right books, but there's a difference when you actually are in the arena versus when you're sitting in the stands watching. We've all played some level of sports before, and there's a huge difference when you're watching basketball versus when you are past the ball and you have to make that jump shot. At that point, there is no, okay, thinking, it's all action. And that's why in life, I honestly believe you need advice each and every step of the way. You can read all the books before you start something, but you need advice as you leave the house to go to work. You need advice as you leave work to come home. You need advice for each and every step of the way. That's why I appreciate what King Solomon says in Proverbs. He says, "Get wisdom and get understanding at all points in life." You need to have the word as a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. So most importantly, I want to thank God, His Word guided us. My parents, who reiterated that word throughout this whole step of the way, and yeah, that's who deserves the thanks, and that's who really helped us get to this point. It was the Word of God and our parents. That's who we give credit to.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Another question pops up here. It says, first, I personally appreciate Mr. Great for his inspiring teaching on the tech world. Now, as a starter in tech, what step would you recommend and which program is it best to start with? I'll take that again. First, I like personally appreciate Mr. Great for his great inspiring teaching on the tech world. Now, as a starter in tech, what step would you recommend and which program is it best to start with?
Thank you, Kingsley, for those kind words. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Um, as a starter in tech, what step would you recommend? I would recommend building your skill first. I would recommend focusing on getting good at technology and staying on top of the cutting edge. That's the best place to create any type of innovation in any field. You need to be skilled first. If you look at my story, I didn't get to the point of building the first product until I was skilled enough at tech. We started this company in 2020. I was already in school for 2 years, and those 2 years I spent all my time coding. And it's important because there's certain insights that don't come until you're good enough, or until you're at the cutting edge of an industry. There's just certain ideas that aren't just going to fall from the sky. You need to be at the cutting edge. One example is AI. If you're not at the cutting edge of AI, you won't know how to utilize it and build products and solve problems with it. So before you worry about what problems you can solve, what opportunities exist, you have to be good enough to be at the cutting edge of, let's say, tech. I'm assuming you're saying programming, I'm assuming you're saying AI. You have to be good enough at AI. You have to be well knowledgeable. You have to be an expert at AI to the point where you can actually spot the problems and the future um, places where AI could penetrate and make an impact. There's this idea that there's what's called when you look at scientists and discoveries, I was reading it somewhere. It says when you look at scientists and their discoveries, all scientists, there's a group of scientists that all kind of come to the same discovery at around the same time. If you look at the discovery of gravity, Isaac Newton wasn't the only one who discovered gravity. There were other scientists around the same time. Yes, he's the most famous and most well-known person who discovered gravity, but there were other scientists at the same time who also were coming around to the idea of the gravitational laws. And this phenomenon kind of explains that you have to reach a certain level of expertise to see the adjacent possible, which is where the new ideas and the new innovations lie. So until you reach that space where you're skilled and uh, competent enough in a space, I wouldn't recommend trying to start a company or trying to look at opportunities or insights because there's a certain level you get to in expertise where ideas are obvious to you. So I would say as a starter, just work on skill, try to build your skill, try to improve, learn, build expertise, and then naturally you'll start discovering opportunities naturally just by being an expert in the field.
Thank you so much for that contribution and response to that. There's no question yet popping up besides the ones we've taken so far. So I'd just still like to ask if anyone still has a question, please by all means pop that up so that Mr. Great can do great justice to it as he's done so far. Just give them a couple of minutes to see if there's any more responses. All right, so let me just ask one question, and after that, if we don't see any other one, we'll just let you off the hook. Would you say that your upbringing,
Pastor
background?
Deji.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are the questions still coming in, sir?
We haven't seen any yet beyond those ones, so I was just going to ask one more question, and if we don't see any other one, then we'll just draw it to a close. Is that okay? Okay, one question just popped up. Now, the question says, what is the most valuable lesson on leadership you learned? What is the most valuable lesson on leadership you learned?
Yeah. So what is the most valuable lesson on leadership you've learned? I would say leadership starts with you. I know we've heard it before and we're going to hear it again now. Leadership starts with us. We are the leaders of our own lives, and that's something of I've learned the most valuable lesson. Before we start trying to implement, you know, directions and rules and instruction on other people, we have to really evaluate ourselves and ensure that we're following what we preach. We're practicing what we preach. So leadership starts with us. Uh, if we want a team that's hardworking, humble, visioned, a team that's following a vision, we also have to be following a vision very, very hard, very diligently. If we want a team that's humble, a team that is just puts their head down, works hard, consistent day in, day out, we have to model that. We can't expect that from our subordinates, and then we're not leading by example. So the most valuable leadership lesson I've learned is to be an exemplar of what you want in your team. Your team is a reflection of you as a leader. In my opinion, I think if you have a team that isn't doing what you want, or isn't the ideal team that you want as a team, isn't the ideal, isn't doesn't exemplify the ideal vision you have as a team. I think it's imperative that we look inwards and examine ourselves. Are there shortcomings in my attitude to work? Are there shortcomings in the way I communicate with my team? Are there shortcomings in the way I'm leaving an example for my subordinates and my other team members? Because usually the problem isn't with other people. It usually starts with us. It usually starts with the leader, because there's a certain standard that a leader has that causes their team to rise. There's certain leaders that when they walk in a room and when they take command of a project or a situation, everyone steps up to the plate, even the weakest link, right? You're always going to have in the team people who are maybe they have certain weaknesses, they're not as strong as other people on the team. You're always going to have varying levels of ability on a team. If you look at a basketball team, you have the star, you have the LeBron James, the Stephen Curry, and then you have the role players and the people who they're not as skilled, but they're playing their part. So if you have, for example, a Stephen Curry on your team, a humble, hardworking, great player, and then you have people who aren't as good, but they're looking up to that player and following him and leading and following his example, you're gonna have a team that is moving towards success. As a church leader, Jesus Christ, He's our example. So we all rise to the occasion. We're being conformed into His image each and every day. In the same way, as a leader of your organization, you lead by example, you communicate that standard to your team, and the team rises to the occasion, uh, regardless of their skill level or regardless of their weaknesses and strengths. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Um, Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but it's been very impactful. And I'm not quite sure there's any other question here. Ooh, one just popped up. Ambassador, what do you think? Do we draw a cutting here or just take the last question? Whatever you say goes.
Okay, let's take this last question, sir. Let's
All
take
right,
it.
so to the general house, this is the last question, and we'll just consider this as the last badge on the door. Is it a distraction for a child in high school, say JS1 in Nigeria, to be 50% involved in tech training? Is it a distraction for a child in high school, talking about JS1 in Nigeria, to be 50% involved in tech training?
I don't think it's a distraction. I think if it's done on their free time, if we gamify it, I don't think it's a distraction. If they are doing tech training instead of maybe playing soccer or, you know, playing, they want to code or learn to code on their free time. I don't think it is a distraction. I think the school should be priority so that they can advance through their education. But if also on the weekends or after school they want to build an app or learn how to code a website or learn how to code in general, and it's interesting and it's fun, I think it's a great way to complement what they're learning at school and also helps them build skills. So by the time they're in university, they're at a skill level that is beyond their peers and they're ready for the future. So I don't think it's a distraction at all.
Oh, thank you so much for that insight there, and I totally agree with you. All right, Ambassador, Unity Support Initiative, Pastor Femi Phillips. Felix, please take the floor now, and thank you for the honor of leading this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, esteemed Pastor Digi. Thank you, sir. However, questions can still keep coming in. We can send the questions to our family group, the foundation chat group. Then we can find a way of sending it to Mr. Great Okonkwo to answer those questions, and we'll put them in the larger house for everyone to learn from it. However, I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Great Okonkwo for this lecture. They are thought-provoking, filled with passion. And I want to say thank you to your eloquent delivery. And for both sections, it was truly engaging, truly engaging. by both speakers. And someone sent it to me, said, I've learned a lot. He said, they both did justice to the subject matter. And thank you. And again, I would like to say thank you to every member of MSI and JGRSF for putting this for us to enjoy. And a big thank you to our esteemed CEO and the president of this foundation. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to anchor this, the 6th edition of our Leadership Summit. Thank you so much. Over to you, esteemed CEO.
Glory, hallelujah. Glory to God. Thank you, everyone, for joining this meeting this evening. We've had such a mind-blowing time with Pastor Andrew Obeha. Thank you so much, sir. And Mr. Great Okonkwo, thank you so much, sir. I think also on this call is Great Dad, General Okonkwo. Well done, sir. Good evening, sir. Sorry, we did not notice on time. Thank you so much, sir, for being supportive, for being there for Great and Blossom. And our warm regards to Madam too. Thank you so much, sir. And Pastor Andrew, thank you so much, sir. Warm regards to your family. Thank you, everyone, for joining. God is faithful. At this, we have come to the end of our 6th Leadership Summit, tagged Inspirational Leadership. And I trust that we are not just our hands, our hearts are full, and we are running with, words that have come forth. The great testimony is just mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. And for me, what I gained, I would say, is that you don't give up. Sometimes, you can, it's hard sometimes, but, thank God for Blossom, thank God for parents, thank God for, people that God just brings our way and pushes us and gives us that push. And, we never stop learning, we never stop overcoming. And, it's always from one victory to another victory. It's always from glory to glory. And God is faithful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ministry Support Initiative. Give you thumbs up for a great meeting today. Glory to God. So that note, I'll take the